Good morning. It's like 4 a.m., but we got to get this thing popped apart. So let's do it. She's loose, so that's good. My biggest fear is always getting that thing locked up. Sorry, I'm being so quiet, but the family's sleeping. The biggest fear is getting that thing locked up to where it's not breaking free, but that thing broke free, so that's good.
And this is what it looks like now that we popped it out of here. Got a lot of cleanup to do, a lot of edge work here. That's the film that's the release agent there. I did get one little booger here when I was popping it out. It fractured, so I just chipped it out of there. I'll go ahead at a later time and just fill that back in right there. Other than that, we got to come in here and clean up these edges where the magwell is. Get a little cleanup on this edge here. Just some fine tuning stuff, but not a big deal. But other than that, it actually I like the color of it, and very, very smooth, very nice. So, I'm going to have a lot of this here will get all cleaned up. So I'm going to get to doing that, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same bit in the Dremel that I use to gouge out this stock here for the glass bedding. I'll use that to just trim everything up, and I'll probably use a little sandpaper very, very lightly up around this edge here. So let's get to working on that. So once you get the majority of this carved out with the Dremel, I just take some 320 grit sandpaper, because a lot of this bedding is going to have some remaining release agents stuck to it. It'll be on your action too. I'm not looking to necessarily remove material. All I want to do is just make sure that the release agent is off of there. This is done. Well, kind of. I've got that little spot right there I'm going to fill in, and I noticed right there I have a little bit of a low spot, so certainly isn't going to stop the process from getting out and getting this thing shot and fire forming some brass. That stuff happens during glass bedding. It's not uncommon to come back and fill in a couple little voids here and there. Even do some skim bedding, which is, if you don't use the gel, a lot of times you get air bubbles with the regular glass bedding, and you have to come back in and do a skim bedding job. So, but all in all, I think this turned out pretty good. The color seems to match almost perfectly, which is nice. If I could give you any advice, don't use orange Play-Doh on a dark gray or black stock, or brown, or anything other than an orange stock, because that stuff's miserable to get out of there. There's still, probably can't see it too well, but there's a couple little orange flakes I just can't seem to get out of this wood grain. But I'm glad it's on the inside, not on the outside. So anyways, we got to get this action cleaned up, and we're going to make sure that it fits in here very nicely. Get the trigger assembly together. Okay, so when you go to clean this action up, you're going to see this this stuff here is just that this release agent. It just turns into kind of a film, and for the most part it just peels right off of here. You can just pick it off. You can also take a brush that isn't going to damage the finish on your action, and a lot of times that'll just help scrub it off of there. So you can also, if you want to, you can wash these. That works too. I just kind of pick at it a little bit and fine tune it with a little like a nylon brush, and then I'll oil this thing all up with just a real light coat of oil. So I'm gonna pick at this for a while, a long while. That is the downside of this stuff. I've seen a lot of people use grease before. I've never personally tried grease. Well, a little bit I have, but not on a full bed job. They seem to like it, so maybe that's an option too. I'll have to try it one of these days, see how well I think it works. But one thing I can say for sure is I've never had, if I get the Brownells release agent on here, I've never had one stick so bad I couldn't get out of the stock. So anyways, I'll keep picking. Okay, I got this nice and cleaned up, blown out. This is all cleaned up. This should drop right down in here and lock in. The gaps look good. Everything looks good, and it should slide straight out. And it shouldn't be sloppy. It should really just lock in here. And it does. That thing just locks right in there. You got to kind of work it just a little bit to get it out. And that is what we're looking for. A real nice tight fit. When this gun goes off, it's not going to move in this stock at all. So, okay, I think we're going to call the bedding job done. And our next step here is, of course, going to be getting this back together so we can mount it back in the stock here that we've just bedded and get busy. So, got any questions on the way I did this, or have any comments or anything, just let me know. Happy to answer them for you. So once I get this together, did have one viewer asked to show the flex of this stock once this is mounted. I can tell you already there's going to be absolutely minimal flex in this stock, but we'll show that to you. So pretty happy with it so far. Okay. I'll try to do my best here to get you guys the best camera view I can. It's a little tough, but here's your safety tang, and this just slides in to the groove here. This piece, you've got kind of a short and tall side, right? That short side there goes into that safety tang there, and there it is. You got to leave it pushed a little bit forward there. If you pull it back, this will just fall out. So that's on there. Okay, let's work on our trigger assembly here. Got the trigger assembly here, and this has all been reassembled. Well, it was. Anyways, if you missed this portion of the video when we took it apart, put it back together, you can go back through and find that. So, okay, well let's get to this here. So unfortunately, with my big fat hands and my big fat head, I couldn't get really good shots of me putting this thing together with any clarity, at least. So I wanted to give you kind of a just a kind of a reference here of how the spring goes in the side of the head of the pin, and just some reference points so you can sort of see how this all went together here. Now, this spring here, see, there's my big fat hands again. Anyways, underneath here, there it is. There's a little stud on the end of that spring, and it goes up inside a hole, so you got to make sure that that's in there. And also, right down in here on this trigger body, it slips up underneath the action. So anyways, just a couple of quick reference points. Sorry for the shaky camera and my big fat fingers, but wanted to let you guys at least see it so that you could reference it. So we want to function test this, right? And so chamber's obviously empty. Close this up here, and just super crisp, very light, very smooth, breaks like glass, typical Savage Accu trigger. So opens right up, just like that. That's all put together. Now we have a couple other things. We've got to get this back in the stock. Some small things here. So that's next. Okay, we've got to get the Magwell in here, and I don't lose my stuff. There's the Magwell. This little tab here, there's a slot cut right there. That hooks in there. Oops, like so. And just like so. And this whole assembly will just slide right down in to the stock here. It's a little bit of a tight fit, so that's okay though. What I find easiest, let me get you guys a different camera angle. So what I find easiest is to drop this back down in here just a little ways to where you can get this piece here hooked where it belongs. And you may have to finagle this a little bit. They're not always the easiest. There she goes. Once you get it, it's all right. It's just they're not easy to get in there. You're gonna have to put some force to it in most cases. At least that's been my experience. Make sure that all four corners on that body are down tight. There we go. Okay, she's in there now. That looks pretty good. Now we can take our action, and our action should just drop right in here, nice and tight without any interference at all. At least that's the theory. Make sure that everything functions before you start bolting it together. Make sure that you can release the bolts, all that happy stuff. I think we're good. So let's flip this thing over and get some. Well, we'll start them right here. Get your bolts back in it. Now, because we use the studs, the bolts should actually line up just perfect. All I want to do is snug this up. I still got to get my trigger guard on here, but I want to make sure that this bolt can start. It's been my experience in the past that I've had to drill that down sometimes, but okay, that's not the case on this one here. So pop this one back out, and that's going to be a tight fit. Okay, here's something of interest. Ran into this once before, where the trigger guard does not want to set down in the carved out body of the stock. It's just a little bit too wide, and not by much, just a little bit. So we're going to have to go in here and clean this up just a little bit. All part of the process, I guess, which not a big deal. It's just more annoying than anything, I guess. So you can see kind of just a bit of an indent, you know, right there where I was kind of pushing on this thing, just seeing if it would slip in, but maybe just slip in hard. But this thing is just kind of, there's just no way. It's just not going to fit. So that's okay though. We'll make it fit. Not a hard one to figure out here. So let me. I'm going to use my Dremel for this, and what I've actually found to work pretty well is just one of these here. It just happens to be just about the perfect size. So we're just going to go in there and just run this kind of back and forth along this channel, and that should clean it up just fine. It should fit fine. So we'll get to that here. Okay, well, I got it to fit down in there, but this was not carved out properly, and so I'm going to actually have to go deeper with it, because that should not be protruding out of here. That should be much closer to flush. So, okay, so we've got this flush now, and we installed the action. Fits very nicely. Still have plenty of clearance, a perfect gap. One thing a good friend of mine told me, and I completely spaced this, I can't believe I did, but you can wrap tape around this barrel when you're glass bedding these. And what that does is that will help keep the... So you wrap tape around here to where it's basically the perfect thickness for the gap that you're looking for here, and that just helps center the barrel into this stock. So as you're glass bedding everything just stays in perfect line. And I knew that trick, and I've done that trick, and for whatever reason this time I just forgot it. It still turned out fine. Everything's right where I want it. I kind of lucked out, to be honest with you, because normally I would put the tape on there just to help, just to make absolutely sure that that barrel is in center line with that stock. And so thanks, Kim. That whoops, we all do it, right? So everything is installed. There's the bolt. It functions very nicely. Everything works. Everything comes out. Check your safety. That's something that you want to make sure too that is working. That's good. Half cock. That's good. We're good. Let's get the rest of this just assembled here. We're going to get the scope base back on here, mount the scope on here, put the cheek weld on here, and get that adjusted. And I'm getting excited now. This is getting really close. So, okay, back to work. Okay, so I'm going to put these screws in here, and I use just a little bit of this thread lock. It's from Wheeler. It comes in their scope kit. Don't use the red stuff. You'll never get it off. Okay, it's done, sort of, but it's close. So I have got 100 rounds here of loaded up Lapua brass. So we're going to fire form these tomorrow, but I wanted to show you the final, semi-final build. This is what she looks like. So one of the viewers was talking about the flex in this thing, and man, I'm telling you, I can push this barrel this way and that way, and is there flex? Yes, but you know, can I twist it? Nope, I can't twist it. It's locked up. That's a good thing. So what we did is I put this is an SWFA 16 by 42 fixed power scope. By the way, compliments of... Where's my box? Where's my box? There's my box. Here's my box. 16 by 42 SWFA SS. This is not my scope. They sent this to me to test, and I'm a big fixed power scope guy. These things have just been bulletproof for me.
I own several of them, and a big shout out to SWFA for sending me these scopes, because I actually have several to test. The 3 to 15, got a 1 to 4 to 24, got this one here, the 16 by, and so, and they sent me some scope rings, all kinds of cool stuff, and they'll be coming up in some upcoming videos, so stay tuned. But anyways, most of the stuff I run is a 10 by or a 12 by, and I was curious to see what these look like. I can tell you just out of the box, looking through them, you know, just down the street and stuff, man, they're nice. So anyways, I wanted to show you guys what the final build looks like. Tomorrow morning, out to the range to fire form all this Lapua brass. Of course, got to fire form it to do load development, so that'll be the next section of this Savage rifle build, because it's a 243 Ackley Wildcat, right? So no real published data, not from what I would consider a reliable source, at least, and so we have to find a way to sort of methodically go through this, and we can do that. It's not a big deal. We'll get through it, unless we blow up. We won't blow up. Anyways, hey, stay tuned. I'll take all my camera equipment out to the range with me in the morning, and we'll show you what the cases look like and how the gun shoots. I don't expect extreme accuracy or anything crazy like that. We're just fire forming brass really at this point. So anyways, hey, thanks so much everybody for the comments and the subscriptions, and it's been a lot of fun. This has been a great project, and the camaraderie has been a lot of fun. So stay tuned. We'll have a couple more videos coming up for you by the end of the weekend. See you soon.